Welcome back guys, this is Vishu from SavageCamp, and in this video we are going to go over some of the basic concepts of a class and why you need to use classes in your programs. So one of the main reasons for using classes is to organize your code in a way that it is more easier to reuse and it has more structure. This is the basics of object-oriented programming, and let me make it clear right now. You are not going to learn everything about classes in one video, but you still have to understand some of the basics of why you need a class. So the way you define a class is you write class and then you write the name of the class. So I am going to say a class of calculator, and the main important thing is there is a difference between a class and a function. A function will have this. A class does not have the parenthesis. Okay, once you have this, you put a colon and you then start defining all the functions in the class. So what will we put in the functions for a class? Well, this is a calculator, so let's put add, and here you see the self keyword. This came automatically from the Python IDE. I did not put it and you will see it again, but we are going to fill this out later, so I will put a pass keyword so it does not give an error, and here I am going to type subtract, and you will see that once I put the parenthesis, it is going to take the self again. The self is the variable of the class that has to be present in the class. Okay, you can remove it, but it is always a good practice to have a self which will be a common variable, more like a global variable in a class. Now let's do multiply and divide. All these functions have the self keyword because it is part of this class, and everything inside this class would be shared from all of these if we put it in self. Now let's add two numbers in here, number 1 and number 2, and we will write print, copy paste this in all the functions, and also the number 1 and number 2. Now we have all the functions written in the class. How are we going to use this? In the last video, we learned about objects. The object is the thing that is going to help you with all the functions inside the class. What do I mean by this? Let's declare an object and I will name the class. The only thing you have to remember over here is putting the parenthesis. When you define a class, you do not put the parenthesis. When you define an object, you have to put the class name and the parenthesis. If I do an obj and do a period, you will see all the functions that we wrote inside the class is available to call from this object. Now this object is going to be responsible for everything inside this class, and if you want anything from this class, you have to use the object which is going to do the heavy lifting. Think of it as a delivery man. When you want to order the pizza, you order the pizza and it comes from a delivery man. The delivery man is the one who is going to the restaurant, getting the pizza and bringing it back to you. You don't care how the pizza was made, who made it, how long it took. You just sit at your home and a person goes there, picks up your order, checks your location and comes back to you. That is what an object does. Object is what we are going to use, and the object is going to handle all of this. We don't need to care about what is written over here. All we need to do is pass the right arguments to this object. So object.add, and here you can see it is part of calculator and there's number 1 and number 2. Let's put 10 and 20 and run this. Now we'll see addition is 30. So what happened? Well, we called the object and we used the add function inside the calculator, and we passed in 10 and 20. And this is going to give me the addition of 10 and 20. Let's do obj.subtract 10 and 20. This is going to give me the subtraction. Divide 20 and 10. This is going to give me the division. And obj.multiply 20 and 10. This is going to give me the multiplication. So as you can see, everything is called from that object. Now, one thing to remember is this self keyword. This is very, very important when you use classes, because this is how the class will call itself. It is a parameter of the class. If I remove this, it is going to throw an error, and that is why it is very, very important. It says add takes 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given, which is kind of confusing because it says it takes 2 positional arguments, which is correct. It is taking 2 positional arguments, and I also gave it 2, but it says that 3 were given, not 2, even though there are 2 over here and 2 over here. The difference is the self. The self is an argument that the class will always take. So it will always consider this as an argument. Even though we are passing 2 parameters from here, it is going to consider self as the third one, and it knows what to do with it, so it will not give an error. Instead, it would run. So that is one important thing that you should remember. And in the next video, we will go over this concept called as constructor, which is init, and this is what we will look at in the next video and how it is useful. So that is it for this video, guys. Always remember, when you define a class, you don't put parentheses. When you define an object, you have to put parentheses, and the functions inside the class can be accessed from the object. So the object is very important, and that is your gateway to the class. So that is it for this video, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.